Hey everyone, I'm Scott Stokely, and I am here with Nate Sexton, one of the greatest players of all time, one of the greatest spokespeople of all time. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I would say the best commentator in the sport today.
Thank you.
And I wanted to chat with you about something, but I didn't want to tell you what it was because I wanted to.
I've got no idea.
You guys, no idea what it is. So, everyone knows that being a professional means you're playing for money. But that's only a half truth because there's more to being a professional than just what you're playing for. And I think that Nate, I'll talk to you now,
Okay.
epitomizes what I consider being a professional should be, as far as how you carry yourself on the course, off the course, how you deal with victories, how you deal with adversity, how you deal with fans, how you deal with pressure. So I want to ask you, what, aside from the money part, what is being a professional to you?
Man, I really appreciate what you said. I do think I do a good job at most of those things. I think the thing that I am not a professional about, that maybe you got me beat in, you take care of your body a little bit better than I think I take care of mine. And I got to be better about that. I got to be in better condition to be able to keep up on these big courses. But I think all the things you mentioned, obviously, I mean, playing at a high level, being able to weather the storm, because there's going to be adversity when you're playing out there on these tough courses, and being able to bounce back, being able to deal with another guy making a big run, that kind of thing. And obviously the stuff interacting with fans and being well spoken helps. I don't know that is required. I would say, if you're more shy, you're still a professional. But yeah, that stuff certainly helps.
All right, so I'll just go more specific now. You have a really bad break, or you throw a really bad shot in an important situation. You keep your cool and composure. How do you do that? Are you pretending because you're trying to be a professional, or are you actually just okay with it?
I'm definitely not okay with it, and I guess, I'll certainly express frustration. I'm sure you heard me today. Like I made bad shots and I got bad breaks today, slightly. And I will
I remember
say,
when you said "oh shucks" under your breath.
Yeah, I do that. I'll definitely do that. But yeah,
okay.
I've never been. That's just never been me. I'm not like some super religious guy, but it's just never like cursing and yelling. That's just not my personality. So a bad break, I can get really mad on the course. I was doing it yesterday, and I'll say stuff like, "Wish I hadn't come here." And and it's like, that's kind of unprofessional,
Right.
to be like a whiner, and I get caught in that, just like I think a lot of people do sometimes. But at the end of the day, I'm obviously super lucky to do what I do. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be everywhere that I've been able to visit and play. But in my weakest moments, that's kind of where I'll go. Is like complaining about, this is not fair, or not even not fair, but this course isn't work for me because this is super long and I need to throw farther like you.
Yeah, that would help. That would definitely help on a course like this. Okay, so yeah, like you're like, "oh shucks," I would not call that unprofessional. Have an emotion. I'll be like, "darn."
Sure.
Like that's not unprofessional.
No, you're allowed emotion, I think.
Yeah, well, we care about what we do. So you're saying that it's more just an expression of your personality and who you are, as opposed to how you're intentionally behaving.
I think that's true. Yeah, I don't think it's not like I'm stifling like a top of my lungs curse word.
So you're not like pissed off screaming in traffic, but then keeping it cool when the fans are watching.
No, that's right.
Okay.
It's just more, I'm not.
That's you.
I don't think I'm. I don't know. I don't feel like I have much of like an act to me. I feel like I interact with people pretty authentically, and I just sort of do my commentary and call it like I see it. And I think that's why people have connected with me, because I try to. I'm comfortable talking to strangers. I'm comfortable talking in front of people, and I'm comfortable just sort of, just being myself across a wide variety of situations.
Okay. What about when a call goes against you?
I'll get mad, but again, it's like.
Okay, you feel mad.
Sure.
Do you express that anger, or is that you internalize it?
I think I would more closer to internalize it. I'm going to state my case. I've been a long career, and there's certainly been times where I want to say, "Hey, I think I've hit inbounds here, or I didn't, or whatever," and you try to argue your side of that story. And sometimes you win those, and sometimes you lose them. And when you lose them, you can be angry, but you accept it pretty quick.
What about distractions? What about, and I'm not talking about accidental distractions, but what about, our sport's growing. We have more and more fans coming out, and more fans that have been playing disc golf a shorter period of time. we're going to get more and more people being not courteous. Not because they're trying to be rude, but because they're new.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah, and sometimes they are trying to be rude, and that's difficult.
Ooh,
I've been heckled before in a tournament, and I didn't respond well. I took a bogey or double bogey pretty much right away by having fans, sort of like shouting at me during play, and that wasn't great. But obviously accidents happen, and usually I can laugh those off pretty easily. I mean, I can say, man, how unfortunate this is. Somebody screamed or fell down right as I was about to make an important shot, but. I try to live in that cliche of just your next shot could be your best shot, and try to keep going and try to play it one at a time and take whatever's in front of me, and however I got somewhere, it's my fault I got there, and it's time to get myself out.
Okay, final one, and I may have an ulterior motive for asking this one, but you, like some other players, are getting older.
Yeah.
Some
like
of them
all
aren't.
All of them seem like they might be a little.
Technically they all are, but you're not really getting older until your 30s athletically.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How are you dealing with your body not responding the way it would have a couple years ago? Like, you're not old.
Yeah.
And you're still super high level.
Yeah.
But you have to feel like a couple things have dropped off a tick.
Oh yeah, and I think.
How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that on the course when you're?
Well, I think in some situations it's laying off and playing to a landing zone rather than going big when the percentage play isn't there for me. I think the drop off that I've seen has more to do with the stay-at-home dad during COVID situation and really like barely playing any practice rounds in the last few years that aren't like with my daughter.
Okay.
And like it's not like it was where I was able to go out and kind of grind field work or take a bunch of shots or what, it's a little different. And she's about to go to kindergarten, so I'm planning on sort of a Scott Stokely resurgence where I'm going to get cut and hopefully play a little better and put a little more work in to my fitness, because I think obviously that becomes more important as you age. You can be a little out of shape at 25 and still be, but I don't know, you can get away with it as I approach 40.
I couldn't agree more. If I hadn't gotten into shape, I would be way worse than I am now. So that's cool. So you're playing with your daughter. I know that's your priority.
Sure.
That's way more important to you than how you score on the Frisbee golf course. I always call it Frisbee golf when I'm trying to put it in perspective. It's disc golf when it's my job. Yeah. It's Frisbee golf when it's this thing.
Yeah, when you're looking at the big picture.
The big picture. We're playing Frisbee golf. All right. I did have one final question for you. One of the things I've noticed, I'll start with the observation, and you can comment on this, but it's with a question.
Sure.
One of the observations I've seen that just absolutely blows my mind is the junior players in this sport are coming up, and I swear every dang one of them is acting like a professional.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Kids aren't supposed to act that way, especially in sports. And in our sport, I believe you can attribute this to you and Paul and Ricky and Calvin and Simon and Eagle. And I'm not saying we're not all human, we have moments, but
Sure.
I mean, we're talking about a culture that says you're supposed to behave a certain way. Would you agree that that's why the juniors are behaving the way they do? Because it blows my mind. That's not the way it was when I was a kid.
Sure.
We were punks.
I think role models are super important. I think you see that, I think in every sport. I think the kids are going to mirror the pros. And I think it is important, and I think the culture of the sport is always changing and has changed over the course, certainly, of your career and even my career, where the vibe is a little bit different than when we started. And
even when you started,
definitely,
it was different.
Definitely.
So what is the message for the kids then? Do you have something that you would tell them about the mental game and about being a professional as they're getting good? And by the way, everyone in the club telling them how they're going to be a world champion someday, and I mean, it's got to be tough.
Yeah, what I usually tell kids is, I miss high school soccer, and you only get this one chance to be young and play a bunch of sports and just be an athlete.
That's true.
So don't specialize. Play disc golf, have fun, play other sports too, become a good athlete overall. That'll all translate into disc golf. Disc golf will be there for you. Keep playing it, obviously, but if you're not having fun, you'll never be good. And if you take it too seriously,
100% true.
If you take it too seriously
100%.
and you're grinding and you're frustrated and you're 16 years old, you're going to be talented, but you're never going to be good. Like, you won't have the mental. You might throw great, but if you're just not having fun with your practice and it's like tedious and you're not taking time to just be young and have a good time and do the other sports with your buddies, whatever, that's what I would say. Is, you know, I played a lot of Frisbee as a kid, but I also did a lot of other things, and I wouldn't trade those things away to be a little bit better at disc golf. I don't even think I would be better at disc golf had I traded those things away. I think becoming an all-around athlete is important too.
I love it. All right, well, I appreciate that very much. My favorite part of talking to you is there's that little clip that I'm going to put on a loop where you said you wish you threw farther like me.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, watch there was no video of our card because we kind of suck as far as where we were placed today. But if you saw the video, this guy, it's no contest. This guy on the forehand and the backhand is absolutely obliterating anything I can do.
Yeah, I obliterate everything you could do except
my score.
Except for the score.
Except my score. I got him there.
I could be wrong, but I think that's more important. Nate, it's an honor.
Yeah.
I got to play with you finally.
It was fun.
It's been so great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Y'all, this is great. There's role models out there. Nate is at the top of that mountain. So thank y'all. I appreciate it. I'm not even going to try to sell anything on this video because I want this just to be purely about Nate and what he means to the sport. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.